The Corthan stellar empire ruled by lines. Thin, glowing lines on star maps. Border lines. Tribute lines. No-go lines for lesser races. They believed, truly believed, that any line they drew stayed where they wanted it. The only line they did not draw themselves was the one that annoyed them most. A thick, dark ring around a small cluster of stars. At the center of that ring was a yellow star in a blue world. The ring had one label written in the trade tongue and a dozen other languages. Terran space, entry forbidden. No empire, no warlord, no hunter. The warning had appeared 50 years ago. No one knew exactly how. One day the beacons were just there, anchored to space itself, broadcasting in every known band. Every ship that wandered near the cluster heard the same calm message. This region is under Terran protection. Do not cross this boundary without invitation. No tribute will be accepted. No conquest will be tolerated. The galaxy reacted the same way at first, with laughter. Tiny Earth, barely a century into FTL? Declaring a whole cluster forbidden? Refusing tribute? Talk about arrogance. But then something strange happened. A pirate flotilla tested the line. They crossed it. They never came back. No wreckage. No distress calls. Just silence. Later, a small slaving cartel tried a raid. Same result. Rumors spread. Few were confirmed. Stories told of shapes appearing from nowhere, of ships disappearing without flashing drives, of entire raiding groups vanishing between heartbeats. No one had proof. No one wanted to be the next one looking for it. So over decades the galaxy did something rare. It respected the line. They told each other it was just until they knew more. But inside they were a little afraid. In the Corthan Imperial Hall of Stars, above the red world coral, Emperor Vadran IX watched a hollow map of his domain. Red lines. Blue lines. Trade routes. Tribute flows. He was a tall, silver-skinned being, armored and robed, with eyes like polished metal. At his side stood Grand Admiral Sarek Tor, all sharp armor and colder eyes. At the edge of the map, the Terran ring glowed dark. Vadran gestured toward it. "This," he said, "insults us." Sarek's teeth showed in a faint smile. "It insults everyone, Majesty," he said. "But they fear it enough to leave it alone." Vadran frowned. "We are the Corthan," he said. "We command 4 sectors. We broke the Drow hegemony. We shattered the Eris swarm. And we let a tiny upstart species claim a whole cluster by writing a warning on the map." Sarek shrugged. "Ghost stories serve a purpose," he said. "They keep lesser minds in line. If Terrans scare pirates, that saves us work." Vadran turned. "Do they scare you, Admiral?" he asked. Sarek's eyes glittered. "No," he said. "They annoy me." At the far back of the hall, an old advisor spoke up. Counselor Mevrin, thin and almost transparent with age, leaned on his staff. "Humans are not just stories, Majesty," he said. "I was in the council when they made their line." Vadran raised an eyebrow. "You were a minor clerk then," he said. "What do you know?" Mevrin's voice was thin but steady. "I saw the reports," he said. "A Harrow fleet who tried to break a Terran treaty vanished in a storm of invisible mines. A Dominion that tried to seize a Terran ally found its shipyards sabotaged from inside. A pirate king who mocked Earth woke up with his flagship airlocked and his docks missing." He paused. "Humans do not fight like us," he said. "They do not fight fair. If we cross into their space, we will not face a simple fleet battle. We will face something we cannot predict." Some courtiers snickered. Sarek shook his head. "With respect, Counselor," he said, "we have fought unpredictable species before. They died. Our doctrine wins. Mass wins. Firepower wins." He pointed at the Terran ring. "This line stands because no major empire has challenged it," he said. "Only raiders. Cartels. Animals. If we step there with a real armada, the illusion breaks." Vadran's jaw tightened. "I will not let a fringe world tell my ships where they may go," he said. "We need resources. The cluster beyond this Terran ring has rich worlds. Metals. Gases. Gate anchor points. We will not be held out forever because of rumors." Mevrin bowed his head. He knew he was losing. "Majesty," he said softly, "humans also have one rule. They do not push their borders on others, but if you invade their space they do not stop until you remember why that was a mistake." Sarek laughed once, sharp. "Then we will teach them our rule," he said. "Empires do not obey warnings from children." Vadran watched the dark ring. Slowly he gave the order that would change the galaxy. "Prepare an exploratory flotilla," he said. "We test the line. Quietly. under full battle readiness. I want to see what these Terrans really have. Sarek bowed. As you command, he said. In that moment, the one rule everyone had quietly respected cracked. The Korthan Empire ignored the warning, and Terran space waited. Terran Strategic Command was not pretty. It was buried under rock, deep beneath the Australian desert, in a complex called Fortress Alice, a maze of halls and bunkers, screens and metal. Admiral Naomi Park stood in the main command pit, hands clasped behind her back, eyes on the star hollow. She was in her 50s, hair short, face lined, eyes sharp. She had seen more incidents on the Terran line than most people knew existed. Argus, Earth's distributed strategic AI, pulsed quietly in the room, a soft white sphere in the center table, connected to a vast invisible network of nodes. On the hollow, the Terran ring glowed dark. Beyond it, icons of other empires flickered. Naomi's aide, Commander Javed Khan, approached with a tablet. Latest traffic report, he said. No crossing attempts this week. 2 pirates came close, turned back when our beacons pinged them a warning. Naomi nodded. Good, she said. Fear is cheaper than firing shots. Javed glanced at the Terran ring. Sometimes I forget how small our actual territory is, he said. Feels bigger because of the stories. Naomi smiled faintly. That's the idea, she said. Terran doctrine, we don't need to own everything. We just need everyone to think twice before crossing our line. She pointed at the ring. We insist on one thing, she said. No empire enters Terran space uninvited. We don't tax outside it. We don't interfere much. But inside. Her eyes hardened. Inside we're gods, she said. On a very small patch of sky. Argus pulsed. Humans chose quality over quantity, it said. You built layered defenses, ghost fleets, mines in places no one believes mines can exist. Javed grinned. And we kept most of it secret, he said. Best part. Naomi's expression softened briefly. Remember why, she said. We made the line after the Harrow campaigns. After half the planet was watching live feeds of civilians burning because some empire thought they could teach Earth a lesson. She looked at a wall where an old plaque was mounted. Read. Never again without consequence. Naomi continued. We promised our people, she said, that if any empire tried that again we would not play nice. We would not show restraint while they glassed colonies. Argus dimmed. The line is fear, it said. But it is also a promise. Alarms chimed softly. A sensor officer looked up. Admiral, she said, we have a disturbance on Beacon 17 Black. Naomi turned. Show me, she said. The hollow zoomed to a segment of the ring. A dark beacon, far from major routes, pulsed. Outside it, new signatures appeared. Korthan. Naomi's jaw clenched. Identify, she said. Argus processed. Fleet ID, Korthan Recon Group, it said. 10 cruisers. 20 escorts. 1 command carrier. Transponder masks on full, but they match known Imperial patterns. Javed exhaled slowly. So, he said, someone finally drew the short straw. Naomi's eyes did not leave the hollow. They're testing us, she said. Empire style, more guns than brains. The sensor tech spoke again. They have not crossed yet, she said. They're in a holding pattern just outside the ring. Scanning. Probing. Naomi nodded. Standard, she said. They're looking for weaknesses. She looked at Argus. Options? She asked. Argus glowed, threads reaching across Terran nets. We can ignore, it said. We do nothing until they cross. We can warn again more strongly. Or, it paused. We can demonstrate, it said. Javed shifted. Demonstrate, he asked. Naomi's lips pressed together. We show them that even near our line we are not passive, she said. But if we go too hard too early they may panic and rush in. I want them to remember this moment. I want them to turn away if possible. She thought for a long second. Send a message, she said. Same wording as always, but direct hail to their flagship. Make sure it's recorded in 10 languages. Argus pulsed. Transmitting, it said. On the Korthan flagship Imperial Spear, Grand Admiral Sarek Tor stood by the main viewer as the Terran ring shimmered ahead. Interesting trick, one of his captains muttered. Anchored beacons. Persistent warning fields. Psychological warfare. Sarek was about to answer when the comm officer stiffened. Incoming transmission, he said. Origin, inner ring. Language, trade. Also repeating in several others. Tag, Terran. Sarek's eyes narrowed. They noticed us, he said. Put it on. The bridge filled with a calm human voice. This is Terran Strategic Command. You are at the boundary of Terran protected space. Turn back now. No tribute is requested. No negotiation will be offered. Crossing this line constitutes an act of war under Terran doctrine. This is your only warning. There was no threat scream. No boasting. Just flat certainty. Sarek laughed softly. They think we fear their doctrine, he said. One of his junior officers shifted uncomfortably. Admiral, he said, with respect, stories say no one who crosses returns. Sarek waved a hand. Stories, he said. From raiders and cowards. This is Imperial Navy. We have real numbers. He looked at the ring. How likely, he asked quietly, is it that a fringe species can actually stop us? On Imperial Spear no one answered. In Fortress Alice, Naomi's eyes were cold. They laughed at us, Javid said. They always do at first, Naomi replied. She looked at Argus. Prepare Tier 1 defense, she said. No shots yet. Just let them see something. Argus glowed brighter. With pleasure, it said. Deep in Terran space, things that had been sleeping for years opened ghostly eyes. Tier 1 defense did not show teeth. It showed eyes. In the dark just inside the Terran ring, small satellites that looked like harmless debris rotated, their hidden sensors coming fully online. Invisible, ultra-thin webs of nanofilament spread between anchor points, forming veils that could feel mass and energy like spiderwebs felt flies. Deep-range passive scanners woke and listened. On the flag bridge of Imperial Spear, the sensor chief frowned. Admiral, she said, we're getting reflections. Unknown. The beacons are tied into a dense sensor net. They're not just warnings, they're seeing everything we do. Sarek stroked his chin. Let them watch, he said. We're not hiding. He checked his command slate. All ships, he ordered. Begin deeper scans. Look for defense clusters, energy spikes, anything that looks like a minefield. If their ring is just sensors and bluster, we push through and map their inner system. If they have actual guns, we mark them for strike. In Fortress Alice, Naomi watched the Corthan patterns. They're poking, Javid said. Like someone prodding a sleeping dog with a stick to see if it bites. Naomi's expression did not change. Dog, she said, or something else. Argus spoke. We can feed them false positives in their scans, it said. Make them think inner space is empty. Or packed with guns. Or we can let them see glimpses of real assets. Naomi thought. What's our goal? She asked. Javid answered. Best case, they get spooked and leave, he said. Second best, they cross and we make an example that's so painful they never try again. Worst, full war with a major empire. Naomi nodded. We're not ready for full war, she said. Our strength is inside the line. Outside they have advantage. So we need them to not want that war after today. She looked at Argus. Let them see something real, she said. Enough to know we are not bluffing. Not everything. Just a taste. Argus pulsed, almost pleased. Tactical reveal, it said. Understood. On Imperial Spear, the sensor chief stared at her displays. Admiral, she said slowly, I'm picking up mass signatures inside the ring. Not close. But they weren't there a minute ago. Or my system missed them. Now they're like ghost hulls blinking in and out. Sarek moved closer. Show, he said. The hollow shifted. Dots appeared inside Terran space, massive objects. Then they flickered out. Reappeared in slightly different positions. No FTL ripple. No burn trails. The officer swallowed. I have no drive type to assign, she said. They're just shifting. Another officer spoke. I'm also seeing faint energy spikes along the ring, he said. Brief. Focused. Like eyes blinking. A junior captain whispered, they're watching us. Sarek's jaw tightened. Good, he said. Then they can see us when we break their line. But he felt a small twist in his gut. Those mass signatures, they did not match any known drive tech. He opened a secure channel to Nexus Prime. Majesty, he said when Emperor Vadran's hollow appeared. We have arrived at the Terran boundary. Their ring is active. Vadran's eyes narrowed. Any resistance? He asked. Not yet, Sarek said. They sent a warning. They show glimpses of inner defenses. Unknown drive signatures. Likely bluff, projected falses. Vadran smiled thinly. And you? He asked. Sarek straightened. I stand ready to cross, he said. With your order. Vadran looked at the Terran ring hologram at the dark warning text. He thought of what it would mean to back down. Corthan pride snapped like a whip. You have it, Vadran said. Cross. Take readings. Do not strike first unless engaged. But show them. Corthan lines are the only ones that matter. Sarek bowed. As you wish, he said. The channel closed. Sarek turned to his bridge. All ships, he said. On my mark we cross the Terran line. Keep weapons primed. Record everything. He raised his hand. Mark, he said. 10 Corthan cruisers, 20 escorts, and their carrier moved forward as one. They pierced the invisible boundary and entered Terran space. In Fortress Alice, a chime sounded that had never rung for a major power before. Argus made no joke this time. Line breach, it said. Imperial fleet has crossed. Terran doctrine, activated. Naomi felt a cold calm settle in her bones. All right, she said quietly. They were warned. Our people are watching. The galaxy will hear whispers anyway. We can't be gentle now. Javad swallowed. Tier 2, he asked. Naomi nodded. Tier 2, she said. Announced to all nodes. This is a Terran-controlled incident. No outside calls. Lock down all outbound intel until we're done. Argus glowed like a small star. Tier 2 online, it said. Inside the Terran line, defenses that had watched for years shifted into attack posture. And things that were never supposed to be seen by outsiders prepared to go to work. Tier 2 was where mercy started to slip. Still not total destruction. Not yet. But close. Inside the Terran boundary, an invisible shell of stealth mines and microdrones reoriented toward the intruding fleet. These were not basic explosives. They were smart. Fast. Directed by Argus. On Imperial Spear, the fleet moved in wedge formation, sensors on full, weapons primed. At 40,000 kilometers past the beacon line, the navigator said. No hostile fire. Inner space appears quiet. The sensor chief's brow furrowed. Too quiet, she muttered. I'm getting low-level noise. Like static. It's everywhere but below threshold. Probably Terran jamming, Sarek said. They want us blind. Maintain spread. We're not turning back at a few flickers. The fleet pressed on. Then a small escort destroyer, Sperling 7, twitched. Minor hull tremor, its engineer reported. Probably debris impact. 4 seconds later, its port shields flickered. On Imperial Spear, the sensor chief's eyes widened. Admiral, she said. One of our ships just lost shield balance. No incoming fire detected. It just dropped. Sarek frowned. Order them to rebalance, he said. Check for internal faults. Before the order fully transmitted, Sperling 7's engines flared out of sync. Then all its drives died at once. In the quiet dark, tiny invisible things clung to its hull, nanofilament mines that had ridden the static field, crawled along the magnetic lines and cut key power and fuel conduits. Sperling 7 drifted, dead. On the bridge, panic rose. We've lost full output, the destroyer's captain shouted. We're not responding to commands. Something is in our systems. His voice cut as his comms went black. On Imperial Spear, Sarek barked, reposition. Protect the cripple. The fleet tried to tighten around the drifting ship. That was when 3 more escorts shuddered. Same anomaly, the sensor chief cried. Multiple ships losing drive control. Whatever is hitting them, it's in the space itself, riding our fields. In Fortress Alice, Javad winced. They're freaking out, he said. Nanonet is doing its job. Naomi's face was stone. Isolate them, she ordered Argus. Shut down any chance they jump deeper. Disable, don't kill. Yet. We want their command to understand they're in our hand. Argus light pulsed in patterns only machines truly understood. Adjusting net behavior, it said. Capturing hulls, not cracking them. In Corthan space, Emperor Vadran watched the feed from Sarek's flagship. He saw ships going dark. He heard fragments of shouted reports. What is happening? He demanded. His own AI core answered. Unknown external interference, it said. No clear weapon signatures. Their space may be saturated with micro-devices beyond our sensor resolution. Vadran's eyes narrowed. Micro-devices, he said. Tricks. We counter-trick. He opened a direct channel to Sarek. Admiral, he said, you are experiencing harassment, not destruction. Press on. Punch through. If you retreat now, you confirm their myth. Sarek's face twisted. Yes, Majesty, he said. He cut the channel and turned to his bridge. Order all ships to cycle shield frequencies, he said. Purge external fields. Launch flak in a full sphere to clear space. We burned their little toys away. Explosive shells detonated all around the fleet, in a terrifying fireworks show. Many microdrones died. Many filaments burned. But the net was thick. And Argus adjusted again. They're using flak, Javid noted. Old school. It'll cost them ammo, Naomi said. Every minute they stay in our space we bleed their logistics. And we're just warming up. She looked at the holo. They disabled 6 escorts. 2 more faltered. The cruisers still held formation. The carrier still glowed with power. This won't break them, Javid said. It's not meant to, Naomi replied. This is us saying hello. She turned to Argus. Tier 3, she said quietly. Time to show them the ship. Argus' sphere dimmed then flared. Acknowledged, it said. Bringing in UNS Retribution. Retribution was not as big as Nemesis from previous tales, but it carried the same design attitude. Overkill inside Terran space. It had not been seen by any alien sensor before. It ran dark in a deep orbit around an unremarkable star inside the line, waiting. At Naomi's order, its captain Elias Monroe received the mission packet. He skimmed it. So, he said, we're the boogeyman today. His XO whistled softly. Corthan Empire, she said. First major power to cross the line. Elias' brown eyes hardened. They knew the rule, he said. They were told. They came anyway. We're past talking. Argus' voice filled his bridge. Captain Monroe, it said, Terran Command authorizes free use of all interior space assets. Objective, neutralize intrusion. Focus on disable and disarm. Resort to lethal force if they attempt to target civilian worlds. Elias nodded. Understood, he said. Take us in on a ghost slip. I want to appear close enough that their admirals can see every plate on our hull. Retribution's drives hummed. Not standard FTL. Phase slip tuned for short, brutal hops inside the line. In the space between heartbeats, Retribution ceased to be in its old orbit. And then, it existed directly above the Corthan fleet. On Imperial Spear, every alarm screamed at once. New contact, the sensor chief shouted. Massive. Close. It just appeared. Sarek's blood ran cold. Show it, he said. The forward view lit up. A ship bigger than any Corthan cruiser hung above them, black and silver, layered in armor, weapon ports like rows of eyes. It had no Imperial design cues. On its flank, in clear letters, a symbol glowed. UNS Retribution. Under it, a smaller symbol, a blue-green world and a ring. The Terran line. Sarek's officers stared. One whispered, they have a dreadnought, inside the line. On Retribution's bridge, Elias looked down at the Corthan fleet, arranged like pieces on a board. He opened a channel, broadband. This is United Nations ship Retribution, he said, voice calm. You have violated Terran sovereign space. You were warned. You are now under our weapons. You have one chance. He let the silence hang for a beat. Shut down all weapons and drives, he said. Transmit full crew manifests. Prepare for tow outside the line. Refuse and we will remove your ability to threaten anything ever again. Naomi listened from Fortress Alice. This is the mercy, she said softly. Javid nodded. If they're smart, he said, they take it. On Imperial Spear, that same choice hung in the air like a blade. Sarek felt every eye on him. To surrender was unthinkable. To fight this unknown in its own nest felt worse. He set his jaw. We are Imperial Navy, he said to his bridge. We do not kneel to threats in our own space. Arm all weapons. Target that ship. Show them Corthan steel. His officers hesitated. But Admiral, someone started. That's the order, Sarek snapped. Weapons charged. Retribution sensors saw it. Naomi closed her eyes in the bunker. They chose, she said. Her voice hardened. Strike, she told Argus. And Terran mercy ended. When Retribution fired, it did not roar. It whispered fire. Its main guns were spinal rail cannons buried deep in the hull. They hurled dense slugs at a fraction of light speed. Its secondary batteries were precision beam arrays, able to cut a ship in half or slice off just the weapons. Elias' orders were clear. Take their fangs first, he said. Then their legs. If they go for our worlds, we go for throats. Argus coordinated every shot. On Imperial Spear, Sarek shouted, fire. Torpedoes launched. Beams stabbed. They hit, nothing. Retribution was not where they had targeted. Phase slip twitched it a few kilometers sideways just enough. Then its guns replied. One Corthan cruiser's entire weapon's spine vanished in a spray of molten metal. Another's shield generators blew apart, leaving it naked. Retribution's beams carved through turrets, targeting arrays, missile tubes with surgical brutality. Within seconds, half the fleet's offensive systems were gone. On Corthan bridges, captains screamed for fire control, only to find their guns disabled. "What is this?" one cried. "They are cutting us apart like surgeons." Sarek gripped the rail so hard his fingers hurt. "Ramming speed," he snarled. "If we cannot outshoot them, we—" His helm officer shook his head wildly. "Drives offline," he shouted. "Something is in our reactors. We can't push full." Argus had sent attack code along with its physical strikes, riding sensor beams and comm links, infiltrating Corthan ship systems, locking their safeties, having their power. Naomi watched reports flood in. Enemy offensive capability reduced by 60%, Argus reported. Defensive integrity at 40. Several ships drifting. Javad swallowed. "We could finish them now," he said. "One volley." Naomi's eyes were hard. "We might have to," she said. "But not yet." She keyed a channel. "Put me through to their flagship," she said. On Imperial Spear, the comm officer jerked. "Admiral," he said, "incoming hail. Origin, Terran dreadnought." Sarek's jaw clenched. "Reject," he snapped. The comm officer paled. "It's overriding our filters," he said. "They're patching straight into bridge audio." Terran Tech rode their own systems like old friends. Naomi's voice filled the bridge. "Grand Admiral Sarek Tor," she said. "This is Admiral Naomi Park of Terran Strategic Command." Sarek glared at the ceiling as if he could burn her face with his eyes. "You trespass in your turn," he snarled. "Into my command." "We invited you not to come," Naomi said evenly. "You crossed anyway." Her tone darkened. "You fired in our space," she said. "We ha." V responded with restraint. He looked at the shattered hulks on his screens. "Restraint?" he spat. "You crippled half my fleet in seconds." "We could have destroyed all of it," Naomi said. "We are giving you one last off-ramp, Admiral. Shut down weapons. Prepare for disarm and tow. You will be given back to your empire with your lives. As an example." Sarek laughed bitterly. "You think Corthan accepts such humiliation?" he said. "If we return like that, we are dead already. I will not crawl away like a whipped beast." Naomi's voice cooled to ice. "Then you die as a disobedient invader," she said. "Not as prey. Your choice. But understand this. Every volley you fire from this moment forward will be answered with final shots. We do not waste more time talking after this." Sarek stared at his ruined fleet. He thought of Vadran's pride. Of Corthan history. Of his own oath. He squeezed his eyes shut. "Fire everything," he whispered. Naomi heard the background orders. "So be it," she said. She cut the channel. "Argus," she said. "Remove them." Argus did not hesitate. "Executing," it said. Retribution's guns changed targets. No more snipping at weapons. Now they aimed at cores. Primary reactors. Jump drives. Command centers. One by one, Corthan cruisers died, not in blooming fireballs but in brutal, efficient, contained implosions. Their cores shut down, their hulls broken in critical places. Imperial Spear took 3 hits. The first carved off its main gun spine. The second shattered its jump core. The third tore through its command tower. Sarek flew backward, weightless as consoles exploded. The last thing he saw was the Terran dreadnought, drifting calmly amid the carcasses of his fleet. Then darkness took him. Outside, the battle was over in under 4 minutes. Half the Corthan ships were dead hulks. The rest, disabled, drifting, lifeless except for dim emergency power. Retribution did not finish them all. Elias looked at the wreckage. "We leave some?" his XO asked. "Yes," Elias said. "We want survivors to tell the story. War floats faster on words than on ships." He turned to Argus. "Mark active life pods and intact hulls," he said. "Transmit coordinates anonymously into Corthan space. Let their rescue teams come collect their broken pride." Argus pulsed. "Done," it said. "Also broadcasting encrypted copies of our engagement logs to certain council nodes. The galaxy will hear a version." Naomi listened to the casualty report. "Any Terran losses?" she asked. "None," Argus said. "Coolant venting on Retribution's flank. 1 drone cluster lost. No dead." Naomi exhaled. "And Corthan?" she asked. "Estimated fatalities, 30 to 40%, Argus replied. We killed many. We could have killed more. Javid's shoulders sagged. Without mercy, he said quietly. Naomi's eyes were tired. We warned them, she said. We gave them options. They chose pride. She looked at the Terran line on the hollow, now stained with battle icons. Now, she said, we see what their emperor does with the lesson we just carved into his fleet. News of the Terran engagement reached Nexus Prime like a knife. Corthan did not broadcast defeat. But they could not hide this. Too many signals. Too many emergency calls. Too many drifting hulks at the boundary. In the Imperial Hall of Stars, Emperor Vadran IX stood rigid as a full battle reconstruction played before him. Silent images. Corthan ships crossing the ring. Invisible weapons disabling escorts. A Terran dreadnought appearing without warning. Corthan guns firing in panic. Precision strikes. Hulks drifting. Relia's face was pale. They did this in minutes, she whispered. The AI core whispered numbers. Estimated Terran ship tonnage, extremely high. Weapon precision, unprecedented. Drive type, unknown. Arrival vector, no readable slipstream or gate signature. Vadran's fist shook. They made our fleet look like children, he growled. Counselor Mevrin, old and tired, spoke softly. They warned you, he said. They told you what would happen if you crossed. You chose to believe them bluffers. Kaler, who had not been in command but felt the blow, snarled. We cannot let this stand, he said. If we do nothing, every minor world will think the Empire can be defied. Relia nodded. Other empires will laugh behind their teeth, she said. They will say, Corthan tested the Terran line and lost. Vadran glared at the hollow. We will avenge our fleet, he said. We will gather armadas. We will mark their world with. Mevrin coughed loudly. All eyes turned. What? Vadran snapped. Mevrin's eyes glittered. And while you gather your armadas, he said, what stops another Terran dreadnought from appearing over Coral itself? From cutting your shipyards as easily as they cut those cruisers? From disabling your gate hubs? Vadran opened his mouth, closed it. Rage warred with cold fear. They are one world, he said. One cluster. Mevrin shook his head. They are a doctrine, he said. A mindset. A kind of war. They turned their own space into a weapon and tied it into ships that move like ghosts. He took a breath. Majesty, he said, you taught the galaxy that Corthan lines cannot be crossed. Today they taught you the opposite. There is one line you cannot cross without bleeding. Silence. It tasted bitter. Relia bit her lip. So what do we do? She asked. Accept that? Crawl? Mevrin looked at the Terran ring. We do something empires hate, he said. We learn. We adjust. We talk. Kaler's eyes flared. Talk? With them? He snarled. Mevrin nodded. Yes, he said. We go to them. Not as supplicants. As equals in danger. We admit nothing in public but we send envoys. We ask for rules. Limits. Because if we keep pushing, we will bleed until someone else rises in our place. Vadran's jaw clenched. To admit we cannot simply take what we want, he began. Is to live, Mevrin said quietly. To preserve your people. Your many worlds. Your children, Majesty. He pointed at the dead fleet icons. Pride killed them, he said. Do not let it kill us all. Vadran stared at the glowing ring. He saw his own fleets inside it broken. He imagined his capital under that dreadnought. Slowly his shoulders slumped. Send a message, he said. The words sounded like stones. To Terran command. Propose talks. On neutral ground. Relia exhaled in disbelief. Kayla looked like he wanted to punch a star. Mevrin's eyes closed briefly in relief. And if they refuse? Relia asked. Vadran's lips thinned. Then, he said, we build. We study. We harden. And we pray their mercy outlasts our arrogance. In Fortress Alice, Naomi listened to the incoming Corthan transmission. Javid gaped. They want talks, he said. After we just broke their fleet. Argus pulsed. Fear is a powerful teacher, it said. Naomi read the packet. Neutral station, she said. No weapons. Discussion of border protocols and acceptable conduct around Terran space. Javid blinked. Is this them admitting we won? He asked. Naomi shook her head. This is them admitting we can hurt them, she said. And that's enough. She looked at Argus. What's your take? She asked. Argus' voice was careful. If we speak with them, it said, we can shape expectations. Make it clear we are not seeking expansion into their core. That we only demand respect for our line and our allies. And if we refuse? Javid asked. Then they will sharpen their knives in the dark, Argus said. Build counters. Seek our weaknesses. We will live in permanent shadow war. Naomi nodded. That's our life anyway, she said. Might as well reduce the number of fronts. She looked at Earth on a small side screen. Well, so. Accept, she said. We meet. But we do it our way. The neutral station chosen for the summit was old and ugly. It floated in a quiet system outside both Terran and Corthan official space, an abandoned mining hub with patched hulls and flickering lights. On one side of the main chamber, Naomi Park stood with a small Terran delegation. Javid, a diplomat named Alia Stone, and a compact mobile node housing a fragment of Argus. On the other, Emperor Vadran had not come in person. Instead, Grand Admiral Kaler and Minister Relia represented the Empire, accompanied by their own AI corps and guards. The air was heavy. No weapons were visible. Everyone knew they were there anyway. Alia spoke first. We meet under a simple truth, she said. We heard you. You tried to test us. We answered. Relia's eyes were cold. You killed many of ours, she said. In our culture, such a blow demands blood. Naomi met her gaze. In ours too, she said. But we already bled on other empires' terms. We vowed not to do that again. That's why the line exists. Kaler's jaw worked. Do you claim righteousness? He asked. You do not own those resources. Those stars. You drew an arbitrary ring and said the galaxy must bow. Naomi shook her head. We drew a ring and said, inside this we will not be prey, she said. Anyone is welcome under our protection. No one is allowed to exploit them here. We don't tax outside. We don't control your subjects. We don't expand into your core. Argus added gently, we only ask that you leave our territory, and those we explicitly cover, alone. Relia sneered. Your only ask comes with dreadnoughts and invisible webs, she said. You talk like pacifists and act like warlords. Naomi didn't flinch. We act like survivors, she said. You are an empire. You know what you do to weaker neighbors who show softness. Kaler opened his mouth then closed it. You did know. Alia slid a data pad onto the table. This is our proposal, she said. The Terran Boundary Accord. Relia scanned it, her implants flickering. Terran line remains as is, she read. Corthan Empire formally recognizes it as sovereign protected space. In return, Terran units will not cross into Corthan core zones without explicit invitation, and will provide no covert aid to active rebellions in your heartlands. She frowned. And what of fringe worlds? She asked. Those who ask for your protection to hide from us? Naomi's eyes softened. We judge on a case-by-case basis, she said. But if we declare a world under Terran shelter and you attack it, we will treat that as if you stepped onto Earth itself. Kaler hissed. Making yourself judge, he said. Yes, Naomi said quietly. Of a very small patch of sky. Remember, Admiral, you have 4 sectors. We have a cluster. We are not pretending equality in size. Only in will. Vadran's voice came through a tight channel into Kaler's ear. Can we live with this? He asked. Kaler stared at the humans. At Naomi's steady face. At the calm pulsing Argus node. He thought of Imperal's spear broken. Our pride cannot, he murmured. Our survival might. He spoke aloud. If we agree, he said slowly, do you promise not to unleash your retribution beyond your line unprovoked? Naomi nodded. Terran doctrine is simple, she said. We do not start wars outside our protectorate. We finish any that come in. You respect our boundary, we respect yours. We don't have the population or desire to rule your people. We only demand this. No empire enters Terran space without invitation. Ever. Silence fell. The line was back on the table. Spoken plainly. Kayla looked at Relia. Relia looked at the hollow. She saw not just a ring but a million whispered stories. The pirate fleets that vanished. The Corthan cruiser hulks. The dreadnought appearing like a ghost. Mevran's old words echoed, pride kills. Relia exhaled. We accept, she said. Kaler nodded slowly. We will sign, he said. Not because we fear you, only. His lip twitched. But because we are not eager to see how far your, without mercy, can go. Naomi allowed herself a thin smile. Good, she said. Neither are we. They signed. In encrypted channels, Council AIs logged it. Rumors began as they always did. Years later the Terran ring remained. Corthan ships skirted it. Sometimes they glared at the beacons. Sometimes they spat slurs as they passed. They did not cross. On small worlds near the line, children pointed at the dark boundary on star maps and whispered Terran myths. Are they really that strong? One asked. An old trader shrugged. Strong, he said. Maybe. Smart? Definitely. Dangerous? To bullies, absolutely. He sipped his drink. Here's the thing, he said. Terrans didn't demand half the galaxy. They didn't claim your soil. They claimed a line and said, this is where we stop dying for other people's pride. He leaned back. The Korthan Empire ignored that rule once, he said. They stepped over. Humanity struck without mercy until they remembered how to step back. Above Earth, ships moved in intricate patterns, warships, cargo haulers, colony craft. Deep inside Fortress Alice, Naomi Park, older now, stood again before the hollow. The ring still glowed. Outside it, empires played. Inside it, Terran space gleamed like a knife edge. Javid, now an admiral himself, stood beside her. Do you ever regret how hard we hit them? He asked. Naomi thought. I regret needing to, she said. I don't regret giving our people a sky where empires think twice. Argus pulsed, older and wiser in its own way. Some species carved their names across the stars with conquest, it said. You carved yours with a warning and a promise. Naomi smiled faintly. Maybe one day, she said, we won't need the line. Maybe the galaxy will grow up. Javid snorted. Not today, he said. Naomi nodded. Not today, she agreed. So we watch. We wait. And if anyone forgets what that ring means. Argus finished for her. We remind them, it said. Once. The Terran beacons pulsed in the dark, calm and steady. A simple message translated 1,000 ways. Do not cross. We do not want your worlds. But we will never again let you take ours.